We all know we should add value to our geographical farms, but sometimes it's hard to think about what is it that we can do that will actually not just add value, but attract those folks to come into our business. Today I'm going to share with you 7 different content pieces that you should be sending to your geographical farm. So you've chosen your geographical farm, you understand that it's the right place, and listen, if you haven't had a chance and you're curious about what you should do, there's going to be a link up above. It's going to give you the opportunity to learn how to exactly examine the type of geographical farm that you should be focusing in on, and that's probably the best place to start. But if you're at a place where you've chosen that, or you're wondering what you should send out into the marketplace to make sure that you're adding the value in the way that attracts these people to your business, I'm going to do that today. I'm going to share with you 7 different types of things. Now let me just say this before we even get into the individuals. A couple things that you want to make sure of. You want to make sure that every single piece, before you send it out, ask yourself, if I received this and I was a homeowner in this neighborhood, would I find it valuable? Make sure you're not just sending pieces out, but you're actually adding some value. The more value you add, the more that you're going to be noticed and the more opportunities you're going to have. The second thing that every single piece you send out, it should have some type of a call to action. This could be as simple as, if you'd like to know the value of your home, please feel free to email me or call me to receive a free, no obligation, updated analysis of exactly where your value is. Anything you're going to do, you could use a QR code that drives them to a community video. You could use a QR code that drives them to your website to be able to see the homes that are active in the neighborhood or that have recently sold. Whatever it is, every single piece you send out should absolutely add value and it should have a call to action. Now let's talk about some of these pieces that you should be sending out. The first and the most fundamental piece for geographical farming is to send a clear visual update of what's happening on the sales side in that neighborhood. Now, when I say a clear visual update, most people are not going to read long paragraphs, especially if you're using postcards or you're using these. They want to have something they can look at and they can see. So this visual should have a couple specific things in it. It should have the number of homes sold this year versus last year. It should have the average sales price this year versus last year. It should have the days on market. How long are things sitting on the market compared to what they were this time last year? It should also give the average price per square foot that a home is selling for in the neighborhood. These are a few clear things that you can do with a simple graph that loads these things up, has one box that says what it was last year, one box that tells you what it is this year. Where are those numbers comparatively? Then in the description down below, you can give a little bit of an understanding of how these numbers break down. But by having a clear visual that is absolutely of value, because listen, everybody wants to know what the value of their home is. What's the direction of the value of their home? What's happening in the local marketplace? When you give it clear and you give it a visual, you're going to capture their attention. This is not going to be one of those pieces that's just immediately ripped and thrown in. They're at least going to glance at it. When they see value and they start seeing consistently you doing this on a quarterly basis, now you're going to have something that begins to grab their attention in a way that other pieces may not. The second piece that's truly valuable, if you can send it out to your geographical farm, is a local vendor list. Listen, we're all looking for people that we know, that we can trust. And when you become the person who absolutely gives them that value, everything begins to help itself. So let me tell you what this is. Listen, if there's somebody that you know that is a great landscaper that serves the neighborhood that you're in, make a list of the couple different landscapers with their phone numbers and their website. Also, is there a plumber? Is there an electrician? Is there a handyman? Is there someone that can help with pressure washing houses or driveways? Whatever it is, someone that cleans houses. If you made a service list of a number of these different vendors, it does a couple different things. The first thing it does is by including people on this list, these service providers, you're going to be top of mind for them. You've helped their business. You've helped them, and they're in turn going to have the law of reciprocity. They're going to have opportunities to possibly send you referrals. Also, I would say make this a piece that they will save. Now, a couple of different ways I've done this in the past. The first way that I did was that I made it actually into a magnet. So I did something that was somewhere along the lines of maybe, 4 to 6 inches long by a couple to 3 inches wide. And it basically was local vendor list for whatever the name of the neighborhood is. And then down at the bottom, it had the branding, your, whatever neighborhood it is, neighborhood specialist. And it would have all your contact information. Then on there, it would have landscaping. It would have the name of the company, their phone number and their website. Then it would have someone for babysitting. Then it would have somebody for all the different market things. By making it a magnet, you'd be amazed at how many times I walked into houses where that list was sitting on the side of the refrigerator where they had saved it. And my name and my phone, all those phone numbers were there, but who was the one that gave it to them? It was me. I was at the core of that. All of my branding was sitting there where they saw it consistently in their household. This is a way to do that. The second way that I've done it also in the past is I've gone in and I've actually laminated that piece so that it was a piece that they put in their junk drawer or the drawer that's right next to their refrigerator where they could always reference back to that. Every time they opened that drawer, they would see me. Every time they called someone on that list, they would think of me. It kept me top of mind. What is it that you can do to add value in a way that has some shelf life? By doing this vendor list, however you decide to distribute it, this is absolutely a way that you can stay top of mind for all of those local homeowners. The third piece you should be sending out is a testimonial piece. This is one where you could have quotes with photos of the neighbors if at all possible. This could be where you had people holding a sold sign in front of the house that's one of their neighbors, and then they talk a little bit about the process of working with you. Maybe this is someone that's moved into the neighborhood where you've shared the fact that they love the fact that you gave them all the details about the neighborhood and you had no idea that there was someone that would know this much about it. Whatever it is, sharing these testimonials builds trust. It gives you the ability for other people to see themselves. So for instance, let's say that you're doing someone in a neighborhood that is moving or has been transferred out of the neighborhood with their job. Maybe they say, hey, when we got the notice that we needed to be transferring out of this area, the first thing we wanted to do was to make sure that we didn't have a rental payment or 2 house payments. So we reached out to Jimmy, and this is what he did for us to make sure that the transition was quick and got our home sold quickly. Or maybe it's somebody that is downsizing. Maybe you're in a neighborhood where people might be downsizing. Jimmy was the person that we first thought of when we knew that we were going to be looking for a house that was a little bit smaller, but the first step we needed to do was make sure we got our home sold in whatever neighborhood it is. Or maybe it's somebody that is upsizing. They're moving to a larger neighborhood. Jimmy helped us get our home sold so that we could move on to the next step in our lives, which was in this other neighborhood. Whatever it is, testimonials build trust. What can you do to share with people where they can begin to see themselves in some of the people that you've already worked with, and that you can build that trust in a way that you're the first person they think of? Next up is a piece pointing them to a community video link. Look, if you're wanting to be the expert in a neighborhood, then spend the time and hire someone to go out and shoot a video. If you're wondering what that should look like, there's going to be a link above where Noah Escobar explains exactly what he's doing and how he's doing this in certain neighborhoods to add value and to generate sales in those neighborhoods. I would just encourage you a couple things on this. Have the marketing piece that goes out to have a big QR code. Want to see the latest video about your neighborhood? And they're going to click on that thing. Want to see the highlights of your neighborhood that you could share with people to let them know where you live? Or whatever it is, think of it marketing in a way that you're going to drive traffic there. It gives you the ability to show the value that you're providing. I would encourage you also, if you're curious about this, go in and highlight and maybe even go in and buy the URL for that neighborhood. So for instance, let's just do it this way. So let's use Live Oak Subdivision for instance. If you went in there and you did Live Oak Subdivision homesforsale.com, you're going to have some immediate juice as far as your reputation in that neighborhood because you've even got that website. You don't have to create a whole website. Just simply point it to that video and point that video that is on YouTube. By sending that marketing piece showing that you are actually out there investing in their neighborhood by providing more value than others, where you've got a website that is specific to that neighborhood, you're going to be recognized as the expert for that neighborhood, and you're going to be the first person they think of when the time comes for them to sell their home. The fifth marketing piece to send out is just listed postcards. Listen, there's a reason why people just continues to do this. What you've done by sending a just listed card out is you've done a couple of things. Number one is they see that you're actively out there and that other neighbors have trusted you enough for you to list a home in their neighborhood. It continues to build your trust as the expert in that neighborhood. The second thing it does is it gets you in front of those neighbors that may have a family member or a relative that might absolutely have someone that might want to move into the neighborhood. This gives you the opportunity to build some listing opportunities where you might double side that sale. Gives you the opportunity to build your buyer database as well. Just listed postcards really do give you the ability to meet and to exceed some of the expectations that your local neighbors have and to build your business in a positive way. The next marketing piece you should be sending your farm is open house flyers. Now, this can be done a couple of different ways. The first way that you could do this is that you could absolutely send a postcard letting people know that you're going to be having an open house on Saturday. Now, one thing I would do is I would make sure that you set a time up that is going to be before the general time period that you're going to have published out there for the general public. So let's say, for example, you're going to have the open house from 10 till noon. Make sure that you let on this piece you're sending out to the neighbors know that I will be there between 9 and 10, just for the neighbors, just for the people that you may know, friends or family, that might want to see this before the general public does. Feel free to stop by. The reason is that when people walk in between 9 and 10, you know these are either people that live in the neighborhood that are kind of nosy neighbors, wondering how this compares to their house, possibly thinking about selling, or these are people that have been referred by a local neighbor that is getting an opportunity to see this house beforehand. Now, when we're doing this, we mentioned about sending that out as maybe a marketing piece, maybe a flyer, maybe something that is even a postcard. But what can we do to really take this to the next level? And that's where we could go door knocking. Now, listen, you want to be safe, obviously, in today's day and age. But in the neighborhood, if you were to have a flyer that's ready and you just knock on the door and said, hey, I just want to drop this off. We hosted an open house. I've listed the house 4 doors down from you. I'm Jimmy Burgess, and I just want to make sure all the neighbors know about this in case on Saturday you see a number of cars and you're wondering what's going on. Also, if you'd like to see this place, or you have somebody that you know that'd like to see this place before the general public, I'm going to be there between 9 and 10. Love to see you guys. And by the way, if there's something that I could do to help you guys, don't hesitate to reach out. Now, this is a way we can do this. I always used to like on the what I called the Columbo close, where I would be walking away and then I would say, by the way, I'd be the worst realtor in the world if I didn't at least ask if there's a price where you guys might consider selling your place. Whatever it is for you, find your style. Get out in front of people. Let them know you're doing a little bit extra. And by showing them that you're out there hustling, I promise you're going to separate yourself from any other agent they've been considering listing with. The next piece, and one of the most important pieces, is just sold flyers. Listen, you've done the hard work. You've shown that you can sell a house in the neighborhood. This is not where you're bragging about it, but you're just letting neighbors know, hey, just sold the house 4 doors down from you. Wanted to make sure you knew about this if you're doing it with a call. If you're sending a flyer out, you're going to send this out, or a postcard, it's going to be just sold. This absolutely will affect the value of you as an owner in this neighborhood. If you're curious about how this affects your value, reach out and I'll be glad to give you an updated valuation of exactly where your home might sell right now. Whatever it is, show the proof that you not only can list a place in there, but you can get the job done and get it sold for those owners. If you sell it quickly, make sure you note that. Sold in 10 days. Whatever it is, make sure you're highlighting the success you have in the neighborhood, because that's going to build even more trust in those neighbors for you. Geographical farming is fundamental to your business growth. But if you're going to do it the right way, you got to make sure that you're positioning yourself to be able to have the trust that you get those listings when the opportunity comes. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.